Welcome back, guys and gals, to Umineko. I am John.
And I'm Matt.
And we're back after...
Bit of a hiatus.
Yes, we keep having hiatuses, but hopefully not for too much longer.
Yeah.
Hopefully once the semester winds down, we'll have more time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I know people are rioting in the comments, throwing pitchforks and torches at me.
Beer bottles.
There's only so much I can do. I'm sorry. Once the summer hits, we might, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll figure something out.
Yeah. Rosa returned to the lobby. It was still her time to rest, but her expression made it look as though she couldn't sleep deeply with all this tension. You know what, I'm gonna bump this down a little bit after all.
無理してでも横になってろよ。後で答えるぜ。
ありがとう。どうしても寝つけなくて。シャワーだけ浴びさせてもらったから、私はもう十分よ。
Why, was pointing guns at each other too stressful for you? Made you tired?
Yeah, it was probably very, probably very nerve-wracking.
次の人、休んでもいいわ。キリエさんたちはいかがですか？どうする？ルドルフさん、休ませてもらう？
キリエは休んでいいぜ。俺は起きてる。それくらいしか男らしいことができない。
じゃあ起きてるわ。夫と一緒に起きてるくらいしか女らしい。
Interesting.
本当に仲のおよろしいことで。夏日さんこそね。
エヴァと秀吉さんはぐっすりみたいじゃないか。やはりローザと違い、年には勝てん。
Ava's dreaming about gold.
Yeah.
As though in response to this, whereas the doors to the hall clunked open.
Wait a minute, hold on. So,
What?
but young Ava turned into the new Beatrice.
Yes, the young Ava in her imagination is the new Beatrice.
So is that what this is? Is it just an imaginary thing?
What, this whole thing?
Yeah, her turning... It's not... See, it's not even her. Like, she's still here.
Yeah, she's still here.
Totally not magical, right?
Was Beatrice ever in human form? Did you ever see her in human form with them? No, you didn't.
No.
I said witches don't exist. This is why witches are all imaginary. So yes, Beatrice is imaginary.
This is all just...
They're real, but the other Ava isn't. And the other is Beatrice. She's fake. Witches don't exist. Magic is false.
Let's do it. Let's go with that.
Ava and Hideyoshi returned from the guest room. Ow. Oh, Rosa.
姉さんこそ無理しないで休んでたら。
The hatred.
だか寝つけなくてね。シャワーを
The
浴びたら
tension
眠
is
気に
is
覚めちゃった
palpable.
わ。ルドルフたち、よかったら休んでいいわよ。
おう、サンキュー。今は気持ちだけでいいぜ。兄貴たち、先に休んだらどうだ？
ありがたいね。だが先に休むわけにはい。それくらいしか長男らしいことができないのね。
私たち
They're
は
all
最後ま
not
で起きています
trusting each
の
other
で。
at all.
それよりエヴァ姉さん、大丈夫？少し顔色が悪いわ。
そういや、そうやな。
She had a ghost escape her. Her personality split. Of course she's not okay. Hideyoshi put his hand up against Ava's forehead. It seemed that Ava wasn't feeling her best.
言わんこっちゃねえ。年のくせに。生活リズムを崩すからだぜ。風邪か？
夏日、上野南條先生を呼んできてくれるかね。
Ava's got the mumps.
Too soon.
いい
Too
わ、
soon.
そこまで大げさじゃない。常備薬は持ってるから
Good
大
thing
丈
they're
夫よ。
isolated on the island.
疲れるとすぐ熱に出るの。心配しないで。
Just take some Natsui's head medicine.
Boink, boink, boink,
姉
boink.
さん、無理しないで。
That was one of the funniest reveals ever. I love that. She's
私
just
抜き
tapping
で
her
兄
on
弟
the
が
head
集
with
ま
a
って
pipe.
るって私の陰口でも言われてるような気がしちゃってね。昔からの被害妄想なの。ごめんね。私は何も言わないわよ。姉さんのいないところで姉さんの嫌な話。
I would never.
Of course not.
どうしたの？姉さん、さっきから変よ。
You didn't perhaps find anything yellow in color?
もう少し休んで。
Maybe a lot of it.
そうね。
It's possibly worth a lot of money.
3月までの金策を考えたら頭痛がひどくなってきちゃったわ。
Ooh.
それは良くないわね。休んでて。姉さんの頭痛がひどくならないよう私も実調してるわ。私だって頭痛さっきから辛いし。
I'm gonna get the doorbell. I don't know who's ringing.
ありがとう。じゃあ私お言葉に甘えてもう少し休ませてもらうわね。
どうしたんやエヴァ、急にへそ曲げて。すまんな、わしらもうちょい休ませてもらうわ。すまんな、すまんな。
After putting his hands together as though praying and apologizing several times, Hideyoshi went after Ava and left the lobby. Somebody's time to die. The two that are close.
Them again.
空気が悪いな。どうにもギスギスしている。
So it's Rudolph. We have Rudolph and
Kirie.
Kirie. We have Kraus and Natsui, and we have Ava and Hideyoshi. It's got to be one of them, right?
Well, Rosa at the very start of this chapter mentioned how close Kirie and Rudolph are. So
Oh, foreshadowing.
yeah, right.
It's
Could
gonna be
be.
Kirie and Rudolph. Dang.
Right?
Dang.
Right?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Yo.
I just picked up on that.
Wow. It's Kirie and Rudolph. If it's not them, then we've been bamboozled.
We
無理
have.
も早朝に殺人事件。それからずっとここで銃を抱きながら缶詰ですもの。ストレスが溜まって当然ね。
That's the dream right there.
Eating canned foods and holding guns.
Yep.
上の子たちもだいぶストレスが溜まってるんじゃないかし
They're
ら。
not holding guns or eating canned food,
マリア
so
が心配だわ。
Not yet.
こういう時は感触を起こしやすいの。
they've roasted Maria. A nice Maria,
Resorted to cannibalism.
a nice Maria cake.
Oh. With macro flavor.
What was it? It was Kraus wine. It was
Yeah, Kraus got pressed into wine with the not
Kraus's
just
blood.
his blood, but the last drop of his blood.
what was Maria? Wasn't she cake or something? Some dessert.
It's like cookies, right?
Might have been.
Wasn't she cookies?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Oh, just then they heard the sound of wild footsteps from upstairs. The guest house was in a cheap building, so if they had been any normal footsteps, there was no way they would have heard them. It was like the sound of someone stamping their feet in frustration. And not a moment later, in addition to the parents' sound of feet running outstairs into the upstairs corridor, they could hear Maria yelling, "Ooh, ooh, ooh," over and over again, sounding displeased.
Oh god.
Rosa grabbed her head, ruffled up her hair, and voicelessly moaned in anguish. The adults conscientiously turned their backs to her, pretending not to notice. The noisy clamor came downstairs and flew into the lobby. It was Maria who was sobbing, the other children who had come down with her, and Nanjo. In other words, everyone on the second floor had come downstairs because of Maria's tantrum. Rosa couldn't hide her dizziness at the scale of the annoyance her daughter was bringing to everyone.
ごめんローザおばさん。私たちもなだめたんだけど、どうしても聞いてくれなくて。
What is your problem?
どうしたのマリア。少し静かにしなさい。みんな見てるわよ。
例のバラ庭園のマリアの
Oh,
Oh my
あれが急
god.
に心配だと言い出して
kill your rose.
I'm so sick of this.
急にガバッと起き出してバラが心配だ
My
バラが心配だって言い出して
rose.
マリアちゃん落ち着いてそれは
She's still. 'So much ooh.
だから少し静かにしなさいって言ってるでしょ。
The children were taken aback by the sudden rise in the tone of Rosa's voice, but Maria's crying just grew louder and her tantrum just grew fiercer. Time for a slapperoo
It is time.
ローザさん、
I am ready
for some child
for
abuse.
もう頭ごなしに叱ってはいけませんぞ。
Woo.
こういう時は温かい牛乳などを与えると良いものです。
Or a slap upside the head.
ここにあるかも。
Mad and laughing about child abuse. Name a more iconic duo.
さっき朝食代わりに出
I
した
promise I'm
牛乳
not
で
messed up.
空っ
I
ぽです
just think it's. I don't know. Maybe I just have a really dark sense
子
of
供用
humor.
の鎮静剤とか持ってるか
A sedative.
あの銀の粒みたいなやつ
Oh, I thought you were talking about a dart.
持ってるわよ
A horse tranquilizer.
今探して飲ませるから
Without hiding her displeasure, Rosa grabbed her handbag that she placed on the sofa and fished around for the medicine. It seemed that she had brought some child-use sedatives for Maria's tantrums. She found it and tipped the bottle into her palm, but it seemed to be empty. Irritated, Rosa shook the bottle several times, but that didn't change the fact that nothing was in there. All the while, Maria's crying was growing more and more intense. Oh, that was sedatives. I thought that was headache medicine.
Natsuki's passed out in the corner of the room.
Natsumi, why are you snoring?
She's gone the rest of the day. That's that.
Meanwhile, Eva was lying in bed, covered by the bedding. Hideyoshi returned from the washroom, holding a handkerchief soaked in water.
こらずい親族会議のどっけにやられてもうたんやな、今はもう他の親族たちのことは全部忘れるんやな。
As Hideyoshi spoke to her kindly, he set the soaked handkerchiefs gently on Ava's burning forehead. Ava rested her own hand on top of his. It's gonna be them.
あなたの
Yeah.
ひんやりして気持ちいい
わしの手が気持ちいいようじゃだいぶ熱が出とるな。安心せい、すぐに薬が効いてくるわ。それにな、わしの手は魔法の手なんや。こうしてエヴァの額に手を当てとるとな、どんな熱も立ちどころに治ってしまうんや。
Ah, that's
そう
cute.
ねあなたの手で私の熱が引かなかったことは一度もないものね
そうや、わしの手があれば医者いらずやで。
No need for apples. Where you got my hand? A hand a day keeps the doctor away.
Apparently.
安心して目をつむるんや。すぐにわしの魔法でぐんぐん熱が下がるからな。
Oh no, is Hideyoshi going to turn into a witch now? Hideyoshi's
not.
dressed in a dress.
Oh my god.
知ってる
That's a horrible mental image.
あなたの魔法感じるもの
Well, no. Hideyoshi was just about to say that's what they call the placebo effect, but he stopped. If Ava said that she could feel magic from his hand, then that was alright for now.
I'm really not sure how I feel about her saying that
本当にあるのか
she
しら
feels magic coming from his hand. I feel like that's a really weird sentence to say.
Yeah.
あるで、信じる者にしかわからへんけどな。そういう魔法は案外世の中にたくさんあるもんや。
魔法が実在する
It's
の
not that weird actually.
やっぱり魔女も実在するのかしら
This is not happening. This is... Somebody is screwing with the narration here, 100%. They're not talking about wondering if witches are real too. That's Beatrice.
森の魔女ベアトリーチェのことかい
Could be.
な。
Of course you're bringing that up in the narration.
信じる者にはおるやろな。神様と同じ信心深い人の前にしか姿は現さんのや。
私もね昔魔法が使えたの
Oh dear God.
ほう、ほんまかい。じゃあお前も魔女やったんやな。
私がね絶対に叶えたい夢があってそれを強く願って努力するとそれが必ず叶ったの私はその魔法でいつも成績は一番だったし生徒会長にだってなったし入りたい大学にも実力で入れたしいつだってどんな願いだって叶えてきたわ
そうやな。お前の魔法はいつだって大したもんや。お前は確かに魔女や。そして誰にも負けん努力家や。わしゃよう知っとるで。
私ね子供の頃からずっと心の中にもう一人の自分がいていつも私を励ましてくれた
Two sides.
No.
Split personality. Everybody has two sides.
Ah,
その自分
Everybody has another self.
yeah.
森の魔女ベアトリーチェなんて信じなかったもし六軒島に魔女がいるとしたらそれは私の心の中の魔女のことだってずっと信じてきたその魔女の自分にあなたに出会わせてくれてよかったなっていつも感謝してる
病気の時のお前はいつも気弱すぎや。今は何も言わんで熱が下がるまでずーっとこうしてるからな。
絶対に手を離さないでね。なんだか私、自分が自分でなくなるような気がして、さっきから怖いの。
Something that isn't myself.
私の中の魔女がベアトリーチェに触発されて、どんどん強くなるような気がして、
Oh no.
私を飲み込んでしまいそうな気がするの。
Oh.
大丈夫や。わしが一緒にいる限りなんも恐れることなんてあら。ほら、ちょいとヤバめな国に旅行に行った時、バスごと強盗にやったことあったやろ。わしが撃退したんやで。
気をして拝み倒しただけだったじゃない。かっこ悪いけど、この手絶対に離さないでね。
I do like their relationship, though.
眠っても
I think it's really well
絶対
done.
に離さないでね。そして何か不気味なものが忍び込んできても私を守ってね。
おう、任せとかんかい。だから今は安心して眠るんやで。すぐに薬とわしの魔法が効いてくるからな。
Ava finally calmed her heart and closed her eyes. Just then, there was the sound of a door being opened violently from the direction of the lobby. It seemed that Mario was having a tantrum, and screams of "ooh, ooh" could be heard, along with Rosa's shrieking yells. That was probably annoying, very annoying to listen to, or maybe it was taking a toll on her headache. Ava moaned as though in pain and buried herself in the covers. It was easy to guess what was happening. Mario had probably had a tantrum for some reason, gone down to the lobby, and when Rosa had scolded her for it, they had started arguing. And then the looks of the rest of the family had been too much to bear, so Rosa had taken Mario out into the corridor, where she did nameless things to her. Hideyoshi had no desire to interfere with Rosa and Mario's problems. But for now, since Ava's condition was so bad, he wanted them to take the ruckus somewhere else.
ちょいと待っとれや。静かにするよ。
Don't move your hand, dude.
早く戻ってきて。
大丈夫や。この部屋から出んて。
Hideyoshi removed the chain, opened the door, and stuck his face out into the corridor. He immediately met Rosa's gaze.
大丈夫かいな、ローザさん。
ごめんなさい。うるさくして起こしちゃったかしら。
Why? Yes, it did.
Just a little bit.
マリアちゃん、ごめんな。エヴァおばさんな、具合が悪くて寝とるんや。すまんが、ちょいと静かにしてもらえるか。
Maria's tone didn't change after being asked by Hideyoshi. She kept whining, repeating, "My rose, my rose." Rosa slapped Maria's cheek, lifted her up while covering her mouth, and carried her off towards the entrance, trying to at least put some distance between her and Hideyoshi's room. They would still probably be clamorous for a while yet, but he at least had warned her. Hoping that Rosa would show her capabilities as a mother, Hideyoshi closed the door.
またマリアちゃんが泣いてるの。
そうみたいやな。ローザさんも大変や。それを思えば、うちのジョージは出来すぎや。親が感謝したいくらいやで。
そうね。
おお、すまんすまん。ほら、魔法の手やで。
He put his hand on Ava's forehead again. Maybe there really was magical power in that hand. A truly peaceful look rose to Ava's face, and bit by bit, she began to drift off into the land of sleep. As he had promised, Hideyoshi kept his hand on her forehead. By the entrance, with her hand still against Maria's mouth, Riz was at a loss at what to do next. She had been unable to withstand everyone's gaze in the lobby, and had yelled at the children to go upstairs before dashing out of the lobby. And when she went out into the corridor, Hideyoshi had told her that she was being too noisy. Where should I go now? Where should I take this child who's having a tantrum? She felt as though she was about to cry in frustration. As Maria kept struggling in an attempt to scream, Rosa put her mouth up to Maria's ear, and tried to persuade Maria in as calm a voice as she could manage.
マリアはそんなにもバラが見たいのね。
Maria nodded her head several times, moaning ooh ooh.
どうしてそんなにバラが見たいの？お母さんが聞いてあげるから静かに話して。叫んだら殴るわよ。
マ マリアのバラベアトリーチェに蘇らまた折れちゃってるかも。マリアはそれが心配。確かめないと眠れない。
It seemed that she was still making a fuss about that marked rose from yesterday. Rosa felt her headache throbbing again, but she was at least a little relieved that Maria had now stopped her screaming.
とにかく今はみんな大変なの。だからママたちに迷惑をかけないで。バラの話は明日雨が上がったら好きにしていいから。
I don't think that was the right thing to say.
だから今
Yeah,
は聞き分けなさい。
That's not what you tell a kid.
やだ
Especially
やだ
when,
やだやだ
like
マリア
Maria.
のベアトリーチェのバラ。
And what if it's broken or gone? You're gonna keep crying. Oh no. Rosa reflectively covered Maria's mouth. She had spoken a little too harshly and had gotten her agitated again. Rosa realized that it was partly her own fault and clicked her tongue in self-hatred. But Maria thought that was directed at her, and her crying grew even fiercer.
お願いだから静かにして。どうしたらあなたは泣き止むの？どうしたらあなたはママの言うことを聞いてくれるの？
Abruptly, Maria stopped crying unnaturally fast.
Oh god.
Then she turned around and muttered.
マリアのバラを見たらちゃんと明日まで静かにしてるよ。
Honto?
バラ庭園に行ってマリアのバラを見たらもうおとなしくする。本当だよママ。
Oh. I hate that. I hate that so much.
It would keep Maria quiet for the time being. Rosa thought that even going out into this wind and rain would be a small price to pay. She did think it might be a bit reckless, but in the end no murder or anything of the sort had actually occurred. All of the clamor since this morning had been a farce set up by Kinzo. If you carefully thought about that chain of locked rooms, it communicated more clearly than anything that it was all an act by the victims themselves.
本当にバラを見たらもうおとなしくする？
本当だよママ。
Oh, okay.
Rosa didn't overlook that creepy laugh and lightly hit Maria with her fist. And she shrugged, as though giving up.
わかったわ。一目見たら納得するのよ。いい
Alright.
わね。
ママ約束する。
Hey, Doc?
God.
Once again, Rosa tested the weight of her gun. It's alright. It's only a farce. There was never a murder on this island in the first place.
くそ待てよローザおばさん。
Maybe this is the two that are close.
Oh. Maybe.
If they're gonna go outside in this rain, they're
お
toast.
ばさんとマリアが
This doesn't bode well.
第二の晩の犠牲者なのか。くそくそくそ誰か気づけよ呼び止めろ。今の親父たちや俺たちは何をしてるんだ。
ローザ親子の痛々しい関係に気を使ってわざわざ話題を変えておるぞ。そなたらも2階へ上がりテレビを見ながら話題を変えておる。
くそったれ誰か気づけよ。一番近くにいるのは誰だよ。秀吉おじさんか。頼むよ玄関から2人が出ていくのを気づいてくれよ。
届かん届かん二人のささやかな時間を邪魔してくれるな。
Yurushi kept talking kindly, his hand on Ava's forehead. He didn't notice that Rosa and Maria were going out through the front door at all. In that case, there was no way that the others in the lobby, which was even further away, would notice either, and the cousin's room, which was upstairs, was even worse.
そなたは第一の晩にて犯人は事故死したとの大胆な察してみてわらわを打ち破ったではないか。ならばもうこの島に犯人はおらぬことになる。
I'm not sure where this is going.
何を心配する必要があるというのか。
うるせえよしらしらしいんだよ。誰か引き止めろ。2人が殺されるんだ。誰か止めろ。
There was no way that Badler's voiceless scream would reach Marza or Maria. The two of them could be seen in the rose garden. The rain was still awful, but fortunately the wind had died down a little. No, maybe that wasn't fortunate. Because if the wind had been a little fiercer, Rosa would surely have hesitated to go outside.
Oh, she found it?
Maria found her own rose with the gold lace and stared at it lovingly. Rosa had accepted with the promise that Maria would only have one look at it, but she didn't want Maria to complain that it hadn't been enough later on, so she decided to go along with her until she was satisfied. She believed that there wasn't a culprit, but if by any chance she was mistaken, they were now in an extremely dangerous position. Rosa realized that faintly herself. If things got bad, she would throw away her umbrella and ready her gun. Keeping the innocently rejoicing Maria in the corner of her eyes, Rosa gazed warily in all directions. That's question mark. Were her eyes just tired? Even though no one should have been there, she thought she saw something glitter in the dark rose garden with all its wind and rain. Gold colored? It had to be her imagination, because to Rosa it seemed as though gold butterflies were dancing through the rose bushes. Just like it is them after all.
Yeah, I'm not.
大丈夫かエヴァ無理せんでやっぱり南條先生を呼んでこんか
大丈夫だからこの手を離さないでお願いだから離さないで
Oh, wow.
Ava was breathing wildly. She can't let her split personality split away from her and turn into a witch. Otherwise she'll lose. Hideyoshi's hand is the only thing tying her split personality back to her.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Beads of sweat were appearing on her forehead. It certainly was true that she had stayed up all last night, and that things had been rough since early this morning. It wasn't odd that her body wasn't keeping up, even though he understood that. Hideyoshi suspected that Ava's sudden fever was the sign of some serious illness. Several times Hideyoshi suggested to call Dr. Nanjo, but Ava resisted firmly, pleading with him and saying that it was even more important that he didn't take his hand away.
分かったでもなお昼になったら必ず南條先生に見てもらうんやでそれを約束できるならずっとここにいてお前の手を握ったるからなこうしてギラ
ありがとう大丈夫よあなたの手の魔法で必ずこんな熱なんか下がっちゃうから
Even as she said that, Ava's harsh breathing didn't improve in the slightest. She saw an umbrella moving from beyond the rose bush. Rosa threw her umbrella and wildly lifted her gun. When she did, the figure beyond the bush showed itself.
To be George W. Bush. Howdy. Is this young Ava? Is this young witch Ava?
何かご用？さっきの話の続きなの？ええ、そうよ。
Oh no.
お父様の黄金の話よ。お願いだからマリアの前では遠慮してちゃんと約束は守ってるわよ。姉さんの悪巧みの邪魔はしないわ。悪巧み？何それ？姉さんが何を考えていても勝手よ。
Huh?
Her voice is different.
Yeah.
It's young Ava.
私は邪魔する気なんてない。
And Ava's still upstairs in the hall in the bedroom with Hideyoshi.
Or so we think.
だからマリアの前では許して。私は分け前さえもらえれば十分なの。分け前
Jeez.
Nope.
Ava started laughing in a creepy voice. Rosa was startled, but Maria stared blankly.
It's shotgun time, Rosa.
And then Maria just said just one thing. Blaster!
おばさん誰
Wow.
私のもの。この黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェのものよ。
Good lord.
エヴァ、大丈夫か？エヴァ、エヴァ、エヴァ。
握っていて離さないで。私じゃない誰かに連れ去られないように。
Wow.
私の手を握っていて離さないで。
お前が何を努力したの？何も努力してない。いつも私たちの影に隠れての、いつも戦わずに影から影へと逃げ回っていたお前に、後ろ宮家の黄金を無心する資格など本当にあると思ってるの？あれは全て私のもの。後ろ宮家当主にして新しき黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェの名を継承した私だけのもの。
ベアトリーチェ、ベアトリーチェだ。
Frolicking around, Maria jumped at her mother in ecstasy. Rosa treated Maria cold-heartedly and raised her gun high.
姉さんよね。姉さんなのよね。違うわ。私はもはやあなたの姉であった存在ではないの。
じゃああんた誰なのよ。ベアトリーチェだとでも言うの？そんなはずはない。あんたは19年前に死んだのよ。
At the cliff.
Oh, right.
ええ、確かに死んでいたわ。だって私、あなたの頭が割れているところをはっきり見たもの。その中身が溢れ出しているのを昨日のことのように思い出せる。そのあんたがどうして生きてここにいるのよ。
黄金の魔女に死の概念などないの。黄金の魔女とベアトリーチェの名は永遠に受け継がれてるか。お前が知っていたベアトリーチェは死を迎えたかもしれないが、今やそれは私の名である。
Interesting. Okay, interesting thing to think about here. So, Rosa is saying that I saw you. You fell off the cliff. You're dead.
You die.
Which means that what Rosa is seeing must look like who she saw at the cliff. She wouldn't accept that that this was, because the other Beatrice that she knew looks completely different than what we're seeing here. But she's just blindly saying, you can't be Beatrice. She's not saying you can't be Beatrice because you don't look anything like her. She's saying you can't be Beatrice because I saw you die.
Yeah. So she's
The
not even
obvious-
questioning her appearance.
The obvious thing would be you don't look anything like Beatrice. But that's not what she said. She said, I saw you die.
Right.
Which means that we are not being shown whoever this is, their true appearance.
So you think that the Beatrice that we've been seeing for this entire visual novel is only the one?
I think every time we've seen the characters see somebody, the characters on the board, these people on the board, whenever they've seen somebody that's claimed to be Beatrice, whether it be taking the form of her or the form of the Beatrice that we all know and love with the golden hair,
Okay.
we're seeing that is just a representation for the person that is actually a murderer.
Wow. Okay.
And that the Beatrice that is a murderer looks similar. Whoever it is that she's seeing either is disguising to look like the person she saw from 19 years ago, or legitimately does look like the person from 19 years ago. But at any rate, this person we're seeing now dressed up as Eva Beatrice, Rosa is not seeing that. Rosa is seeing something else from us, and we're just being shown Ava Beatrice as a mask.
Okay. Alright, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, because we saw that whole ceremony thing,
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice is inserting young Ava as what we see, but that's not what Rosa sees.
Yes. Yes.
Rosa sees the regular golden-haired, or whatever else she believes
Or-
is Beatrice,
Yes.
right?
Even the regular golden-haired might not have been what they were seeing. That might have just been inserted to hide the true culprit's identity, if there is a true culprit.
Right. Wow. Okay. All right. That's a damn good theory. I like that.
Just her words. You cannot be just saying you can't be Beatrice because you're dead. Instead of saying you look nothing like Beatrice.
Right.
That means there has to be some visual foolery here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Definitely.
just what I think.
故に無限ベアトリーチェに死の概念はないの
All right. Let's see.
哀れね姉さん。
The goal that has caused you to lose the distinction between fantasy and reality.
She is calling her Nason though.
お前の姉ではないというのに
So to some degree, she sees Ava. You know.
Yeah. Huh.
So she's recognizing that she does look like Ava if she's calling her Nason.
Maybe. That's a good point too.
So I don't.
Now I'm all confused.
Yeah, I don't know if. Let's just keep going.
I don't know what to
Let's see.
believe.
新しきベアトリーチェとして自らの復活の儀式を引き継ぐわロノウェ私はどうすればいいの
Oh my man.
ロズイのまま
My man Ronove.
もはやベアトリーチェ様にはどのような思いも実現できる力が少し扱えばなれるでしょう。
不甲斐なき元妹よ私が魔女として初めて捧げる最初の生贄に選ばれたことを光栄に思うがいい
Yes, it's such an honor to be killed.
第二の番に寄り添う二人を私がこの手で引き裂く
What? We've never heard this before.
This is new. I was just gonna say.
The first thing the new Beatrice wished. No, the first magic she tried to use was to surpass the limitations given to humans, in particular gravity. She wanted to become fully aware of her transformation into a witch by being released from the shackles.
She wanted to fly.
As the witch and Rosa stayed as they were, the ground retreated all by itself into the distance below them. Why now their feet were no longer attached to the ground? Rosa finally realized that the ground hadn't retreated into the distance below her, but that she and the witch had been sucked up into the rainy sky.
That's horrifying.
To humans shackled by gravity, there's nothing more unnerving than not having their feet on solid earth. However, to Beatrice, who had learned the joy of being released from gravity as a new witch, it was enough to cause her whole body to shake with delight.
ねえローザ昔小さい頃魔女になって空が飛べたらなって話したことあるの覚えてる叶ったよ私が本当の魔女になって叶えてあげたわやめてよ夢ならされて
As you wish!
あ
Plot.
なた言ったわ夢の中で空を飛んだってそして覚めたくなかったとも言ったわ起こした私を恨んだともね安心して今度は覚めないわよ
Yo 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 yo! Come dance with me in the vast rainy sky. Didn't we wish to fly like seagulls in the sky and escape this cramped and boring island of Rikenjima? Now, I'll make that dream a reality for you. This is why I want to share this joy with you and no one else.
楽しいねローザ楽しいね見てごらん眼下を私たちのお屋敷ってあんなにも小さいわあんな小さな場所で私たちはどれほどの長い時を過ごしたのかしらその狭さとちっぽけさに今こそ本当に 光が私たちを照らして。
The witch and Rosa were like leaves fluttering around in a whirlwind. As the rain pounded upon every part of their bodies, as the lightning occasionally shone upon them, they shook with the joy of being released from the ground. However, that was only that way for the witch. Rosa was shaking in terror, holding onto her hand voicelessly, screaming over and over.
That would be me.
Let me down as you wish. Oh!
Holy crap.
A slightly displeased expression rose to the witch's face when she realized that her own joy was not being shared. And she decided to listen to her former sister's request. The whirlwind that had been making Rosa dance around grew weaker, then stopped. In other words, Rosa again was once bound by the restrictions of gravity as a human. Following the laws that were originally correct, Rosa began to descend toward the ground upside down.
I think I'll try to defy gravity.
No, she began to fall. Fall! Ooh! Oops. The witch hadn't intended to send Rosa plummeting, but she still wasn't used to using magic.
Oh, she didn't intend to? Really?
Rip Rosa. After plummeting about 100 meters into a rose bush, fitting end.
Yeah, really.
As a very, very natural result, Rosa died instantly.
I like the way that's written.
But the witch hadn't intended to kill her, so she willed for Rosa not to die. When she did, gold butterflies coiled about Rosa's body, reviving that life just as the witch had witched.
Wow.
Rosa's body, which had laid out a radial carpet of fresh blood, rapidly returned to normal. The broken and crushed bones returned to normal. The torn and smashed flesh returned to normal. How easy it is to break things in this world, and how difficult it is to fix them. Anyone can take a life, but no human can revive a lost life. By suppressing the irreversible, one proves that they have surpassed humans. This surely gave her a much, much greater realization that she was a witch than flying through the sky had.
もちろんです。ベアトリーチェ様はすでに無限の魔女であらせ、生きることも生かすことも殺すことも全てその輪廻を支配する女王こそが無限の魔女である。
金魚鉢を落としたことがあるわ。涼しげな美しい鉢が割れてしまって二度と元に戻らなかった。床に叩きつけられた可愛いデメキンは二度と泳ぐ姿を見せてくれなかった。私がいくら泣いても使用人たちは壊れたものと死んだものは蘇らせられない。あの時学んだのよね。物は壊しちゃいけない、人は殺しちゃいけないって。だって直せないんだもん。じゃあ直せるなら壊しても怒られないということでしょ。すごい。
Worrying about getting in trouble.
すごいすごいすごい。
For a while, the witch became intoxicated with how terrible and wonderful the power she had succeeded was. Her laugh was pure, innocent, and also cruel. Even though Rosa had been revived, she let out a cry of anguish at the pain from her fall. The witch landed in front of her and held out her hand.
That fucking laugh. Oh my god. I hate that. Wow.
そして人間がこんなにもろく死ぬとも知らなかったの。でも生き返らせてあげたからもう平気。だから起きて、私ともっと遊びましょう。
She is not handling her power very well. I will tell you that.
What were those dreams you told me about when you were a kid? Go ahead and tell me all of them without holding back. As I am now, I can make anything come true, no matter how absurd. I can let you drown in an ocean of jelly. I can swallow you up in a mountain of cake. I can even make you grow butterfly wings and have you fly around the garden. I'll do them one after another. Let's start with the ocean of jelly, okay?
Okay. Please, for the love of God, stop with that voice. You're freaking me out.
Why? Do I sound like Ava?
Yes, a little bit too much.
Rosa was once again thrown high into the rainy sky. However, the sky wasn't filled with raindrops but drops of orange juice.
What the fuck is going on here?
I don't know. When she looked down, Rosa had to doubt her eyes. The rose garden had disappeared and the ground spread beneath her was like a pastel jigsaw puzzle. It was from the dream that she had talked about when she was young, an ocean of jelly. The black part was coffee jelly, the red was strawberry, the yellow was pineapple, the green was melon. What was the white part? Apple, perhaps?
Semen.
Yo, did Rose even have the time to think something like that? Dude, Rosa fell towards that multicolored ocean.
Oh, man.
And sank into a deep braid-flavored purple sea. It really was an ocean of jelly. It had no bottom, and it had no oxygen. As Rosa sank, she was shocked to see a school of transparent fish swimming through the grape jelly ocean. They were probably made of grape skin. Then she sank on and on, deeper and deeper, as deep as the Mariana Trench, compressed tight by the water pressure of the jelly ocean, as her ribs crushed and crunched as her spine snapped and cracked.
Yeah.
And in the end, she had become a small brown meatball.
We're having a roast of meatballs.
Subarashi! The instant I snapped my fingers, the meatball that had been Rosa was launched up into the sky. And after being enveloped in a golden brilliance, she returned to her original form.
No longer meatball.
It was as simple and easy as returning dried seaweed to its original form, and anyone can do it. If they were a witch.
Mm-hmm.
That vacant look on Rosa's face had to be because of the joy from having that dream she had given up on as a child to make it into reality. Definitely, probably. Next is the mountain of cake. When in an instant, the sky was covered and became patterned black and white like a chessboard. That almost transparent white part was her favorite gelatin cheesecake. The elegant black part was the slightly bitter gâteau au chocolat. They were a ceiling, they were a mountain, and those several billion cakes were thrown down towards Rosa. Oh, oops.
Oh.
If you piled those cakes up, they would surely be taller than Everest. So they probably weighed. I'm not too sure, but it was probably heavier than all the cakes across Japan put together.
It's basically an entire mountain.
Yeah. It fell down like a ceiling and swallowed Rosa up. So it was a very, very natural result. It was Christian death.
I love the way that they phrase that.
In less than a second, her bones broke through her body and her insides were smashed and forced out and spun a little blop.
What's with the weird onomatopoeia? I don't understand.
And yet even a greater number of cakes piled up on top, and Rose ended up as a layer of jam wedged between the cakes.
Nice.
As she became thick as a single hair, and was probably smashed out into the area of a tennis court.
Thick.
That world swallowed up by cake was once again observed by a golden flash. Then, as though it had all been a dream, Rosa was revived once again.
Wow.
Of course, it was definitely not a dream. She had been revived after dying. By that point, death, which most humans only have to experience once after they are born, had already been experienced repeatedly by Rosa. In other words, she had gone through that which humans cannot, the precious experience of dying more than once.
Such a weird laugh.
Laughing innocently, she pointed her gold staff at Rosa. When she did, Rosa glittered gold and rapidly began to shrink. She shrank down to the size of a real butterfly. Then golden wings sprouted from her back, and she joined her fellow gold butterflies. That's not so bad. However, while a human body could withstand this wind, it was a different matter for a butterfly's body. The golden butterfly Rosa was invited to dance by each gale of wind, and she spun in circles around the rose garden. A gentle bed caught her as she was tired from dancing. It was a soft knit hammock in the shadows beneath the roof of the arbor. The owner of that hammock lumbered into view, welcoming its rare guest who had wandered in on this stormy night. That owner who should have been small enough to crush in the palm of your hand.
Was a spider?
And now look as big as the top of a canopy venter, Rosa.
Oh, it's a spider in a spider's web.
Jesus.
雲って獲物をかじるんじゃなくて毒液を刺して中身をドロドロのスープに溶かしてからすするんだって聞いたことがある。ねえローザ、覚えてる？わざと蝶々をクモの巣に放ってどうクモが襲うか眺めて遊んでた時のこと。覚えてる
？She's gonna like.
She's lost it.
Yeah.
あなた小学校に上がる前だったと思うもの。今度はよく見れるわよ。しげしげとね。
I'm kind of mad we don't get an actual visual representation of Butterfly Rosa.
In the spiderweb?
Yeah. I'd like to see that. For no particular purpose. For science.
Is this okay to put on YouTube?
Probably. Right? Oh.
あいつやるな。
Oh
実
no.
に自由に魔法を使いこなす。
Another clown decided to show up.
This has been fun, but
面白い面白い面白い面白い。バトラも笑えるだろ。
Pants of Adler holding his head, screaming.
ふざけんな。もう止めろ。何が楽しいんだよ。おかしい。てめえおかしいぞ。こんなことをして何が楽しいってんだ。
あんなに楽しそうじゃないかよ。無理もない。魔法は楽しいもんな。思い出すよ。わらわも魔法が使えるようになった時はすっごくはしゃいだもんさ。わかるぜわかるぜ。あのはしゃぎっぷりが心の底からわかるさ。この喜びや感動、バートラには共感できないんだろうな。ああ、残念残念。バートラだってわらわを認めればいつだって魔法を教えてやるぞ。人間の束縛を逃れた瞬間の喜びは筆舌に尽くしがたい。そなたに教えてやりたいよ。あの喜び、あの感動。そなたの生み出す魔法の世界もぜひ一度見てみたいものだ。楽しくなってきただろう。魔法が使いたくなってきただろう。魔女もなかなかに楽しいものであるぞ。そなたに特別に教えてやる。一緒に空を飛ぶ喜びとか、一緒に海を潜る喜びとか、人間の制約を超えた瞬間に知る世界がどれほどに広かったのかという感動をそなたにも教えてやる。そしたら楽しいだろうな。
yeah, I was kind of hoping for a long battler there.
There was no malice in Vader's expression. It was hard to believe, but she was genuinely enjoying this cruel show, and she thought she was sharing her appreciation with Battler. Battler was aghast at that vastly, hopelessly different measure of value.
I think we've established that she's definitely.
このおかしな茶番を止めさせるんだ。どうすりゃいいんだ。
私たちは万外の存在です。万丈には触れられません。
Virgilia shook her head apologetically. She was one who had already been killed. Did that mean she couldn't interfere in any way? As Beto continued to enjoy it in a crazed sort of way, Battler lifted her up by the collar and yelled at her.
Oh wow.
And before he tosses her against the wall.
Yeah, really.
あれがエヴァおばさんだってのか？ありえない。俺の知ってるエヴァおばさんは確かに意地悪なとこも少しはあった。こんな残酷なことをする人じゃ断じてありえない。全てお前のまやかしだ。ローザおばさんをもてあそぶな。エヴァおばさん、今すぐこの茶番を止めさせる。
だからローザと遊んでいるのはもうわらわではないという。新しきベアトリーチェだというに。そんなにギャーギャーわめくほどに残酷。そなたもこういうの実は結構好きだろうが。
When did you ever get that idea?
Yeah, what part of their interactions would make her think that?
For the first time, Battler slapped Beto across the cheek.
Oh!
Beto didn't know why something like that would be done to her, and a stunned expression rose to her face. Battler found that expression even more unforgivable, and he roared.
これが面白いだ。お前の頭はどうなってんだ。死ね。
Oh my god.
顔を輪切りにしててめえで覗いてみろ。絶対に中身がごっそり抜けているぜ。今すぐやめさせろ。この悪趣味な茶番をやめさせるんだ。俺はお前を許さない。よくもこんな残酷なことを。お前のこと少しでも笑えるやつだと思ったこともあったが、俺はもう二度と勘違いしない。お前はただ残酷なだけの怪物だ。俺の前に現れるな。二度とだ。お前を認めないお前と話さない。お前の顔など見たくもない。
That's gonna sting a little bit, I think.
聞こえたか。俺の前に現れるな。お前なんか消えてしまえ。
It's all he's got left now. What just happened?
The instant Battler screamed, the power that resisted the witch became a red wall, which repelled Beto, knocking her back onto her butt.
だというのだ。面白い見物ではないかよ。
As she spoke as though making an excuse, but the person whose words were directed at Battler was no longer there. His figure had suddenly disappeared into the darkness. But Beto pouted her lips and continued trying to explain herself.
確かにちょっとあれかなとは思う。こんなの無邪気ないたずら程度であろう。どう殺そうが結局は生き返らせておるではないか。人間は終わりさえ良ければ何でも良い生き物でもなかったのか。
That dying involves a lot of suffering.
お師匠様、そこまでへそを曲げられるものでもある前に。
She was hoping for approval, but Virgilia simply faced her with an indifferent expression.
Get fucked.
To Beto, at that moment, even an exasperated face would probably have seemed better.
私から特に言うことはありません。あなたが楽しいと思うならいつまでも見続けていると良いでしょう。終わったら呼びなさい。それまで私も姿を消します。
Following Battler's lead, Virgilia hid herself in the darkness. Left sitting there on her own, Beto didn't have a clue what was going on and felt like she had been made out to be the bad guy. Antagonist doesn't realize they're antagonist. I'm with you. I thought it was interesting. It was very interesting.
I mean, it's interesting, but like, it's not something I'd wouldn't want to watch a close family member be murdered again and again, in increasingly cruel and unusual ways.
マトラ様にも面白いとは限りません。
I'm really intrigued by how much how much emotion, and almost kind of like how more human she's become as the chapters have gone on. Like, chapter 1, she never would have worried about what Battler thinks of her. Like, she never would have pouted because Battler gave her a stern talking to, you know? The ship is happening. The ship is happening. It's setting sail.
わらわたちは不仲だというのか？バトラと一緒に拍手できたように、一緒にゲラゲラ笑い合えると思ったのに。
Find something he can laugh at.
Yeah, maybe not murder his family members.
それを競い合うゲームなんだから。でもよ、顔も見ない、話もしないって無視はいくらなんでもないだろう。わらわはそんなにも嫌われ者なのかよ。
これまでお嬢様は十分に嫌われるだけの指し手をいたしました。悪魔の私でさえバトラ様の気持
Is
ち
she in love with
少
him?
しはわかるというそれが理解できるのは
I was just joking earlier when I said the ship is happening, but if she's actually fucking in love with him, I will scream.
She's a witch. She doesn't exist.
Of course.
うるさいうるさいうるさい、お前も消えてしまえ。
はい、かしこまりました。それでは失礼いたします。
Even Ronove hid himself in the darkness, and Beto was left alone, the only one in the rainy rose garden.
The Rosy Rain Garden.
No one will play with the lonely witch. Because no one would play with her, she was a lonely witch.
She can play with herself.
What's going on?
なんでわらわ
Why won't anyone...
そんなにわらわは変かよ。
Sorry.
誰か返事しろよ。
You know.
楽しいねローザ、楽しいね。
That's
次は何をして遊ぶ？
it's actually.
I apologize.
I wasn't thinking when I said that. But that's pretty fucking funny.
I sincerely apologize.
I don't apologize.
マリアも一緒に遊んであげるわ。みんなで仲良くお散歩しよう。煮え
Stick
た
to my
ぎるチョ
guns.
コレートの鍋を
Let's
用意
swim
で
in a pot of boiling
オー
chocolate.
ブンの中をピクニックしよう。
Cake
Keep
rising.
raising oven.
What does the fox say?
Yeah, really. That was a good one.
の新しきベアトリーチェ。
Behind the witch who was continuing her spree of tragedy, Beto showed herself.
Is she gonna?
Her expression was very rare for her.
She's gonna try to talk her out of it?
It was kind of restrained, somehow unreliable, miserable.
これは仙台ベアトリーチェ様、ご覧くださりましたか？魔法の力は本当に素晴らしい。魔女に生まれ変わることができたことを今ほど楽しいと思ったことはありません。まるでいつまでも終わらぬお遊戯の時間のよう。さあ、仙台様もご一緒に遊びましょう。その前にちょっとお待ちになってくださいね。二人はオーブンの中で焼け焦げて死んでしまったからまた蘇らさないと。
Oh my
ま
god.
るでイーストで膨れるパンみたいに、オーブンの中で膨れるクッキーみたいに。
話を聞けというのに。
What is this?
そのだな。第二の番の生贄にはもう十分であろう。確かに殺し方については指定がないが、それ以上もてあそぶことはあるまいに。
何をおっしゃいます仙台様。さっきロノウェイから聞きましたよ。仙台様の魔法はもっともっと素敵で残酷でやりたい放題だったって。
I don't think that's true.
6人のお腹からお菓子が溢れ出すハロウィンパーティーなんて本当に素敵。
She
なの
was
で
pretty
私
fucking
は
rough.
アリスのお茶会を演出しようかしら。なんでもない日を祝うお茶会にみんなを招待して
On
私が
birthday.
魔法で次々おもてなしするの。仙台様みたいに素敵にできるかしら。個性的に残酷にポップ
Oh,
に
that
キュ
face.
ートにできる
Good
かしら。
lord.
今思うと
Oh my
おとぎ
god.
話とかってどれも残酷でしたよね。そのおとぎ話の魔女に自らがなってみてようやく理解しました。
わらわもその以前までのは少しやりすぎたかなと少しは思っておる。
Wow.
まあ黄金の魔女たるもの、少しは気品があっても良いかと思うてな。
仙台様が何をおっしゃってるのか分かる。でも一つだけ分かります。今の私がどれほどを尽くしても仙台様の残酷さには到底及びません。もっともっと頑張らなくちゃ。もっと残酷になって立派な黄金の魔女にならなくちゃ。
だからそれはもう十分だというに。とにかくわらわの先代としての命令だ。第二の番はもう十分だ。
Can she even
わらわ
order
が
her?
少し手本を見せる。下がって見ておれ。
はい、仙台様。どんな無残で残酷でおぞましい殺し方を見せてくれるのか楽しみです。
Oh no. The new witch pinched the side of her skirt and gave a graceful bow. Stepping back as an expectant gaze at her face, she was expecting even more cruel magic that surpassed even herself.
そういう殺し方しかできないうちは半人前なのだ。わらわが上品な黄金の魔女らしい殺し方を見せようと。
When Beta waved her pipe, seven colors of smoke poured out, reviving Rosa and Maria. Compared to how the new Beatrice had done it a short while ago, it was slightly gentler. It was probably gentler than how Beto had done it herself up until now. Rosa's consciousness had already grown dim from the pain of so many repeated deaths, but even so, she pleaded that her daughter be spared. You still smell like bread. When Maria realized that was the real Beatrice, she jumped onto her.
Makes me wonder if Ava finding the gold was actually a play by Battler to get maybe to like not switch things up, but like take the power away from Beatrice in that sense.
Maybe.
But I don't remember whose move it was when that all went down, so I don't know.
なんでどうしてヘアと約束してくれた？すまぬ、本当にすまぬ。だからせめて約束を守れなかった。
I'll give you a truly quiet sleep, which will never be disrupted again. Beto embraced Maria with a loving expression. She folds the Genji. Then softly a red bruise appeared on Maria's neck.
Yeah.
It was a very gentle bruise. Oh, this is a very cruel method. Teach me. It grew redder and redder and distinctly formed into the shape of a hand.
And started choking her.
Maria's neck tilted suddenly, peacefully as though she had fallen asleep.
Mario.
You just watched your child die after repeatedly dying yourself. There's no coming back from that.
No, there's not.
There's no therapist that can help you with that.
そなたが第二の番の生贄であることは謝らぬ。そういう運命だ。しかし、その捧げ方が悪趣味であったことは謝らねばならぬ。これが最後の巡りと妨げられることに。
Beto softly, gently lifted her finger as though touching the empty air in front of her nose. When she did, a light breeze lifted up, making Rosa's body dance slightly like a feather. Then Rosa's body floated lightly, and there was a garden fence with its spear-shaped prongs.
She gonna impale her on the fence? What?
The spear of the fence pierced Rosa's medulla oblongata benevolently without toying with her. In a single blow, Rosa's life was snuffed out.
Oh yeah, impaling someone on a fence is benevolently.
Just like a doll-shaped, Rosa was leaning against the fence, but she had passed away.
Well, how's Ava Beatrice gonna react to that?
Beto acted proud, but the new witch wore a blank expression. It was as though it was an anticlimax, and she was forthright with that opinion.
なんだか地味です。ロノウェイに聞いていた先代様のそれとは随分違います。
魔法は上品に使わねばな。あまり品がないのはエレガントではないのだ。
せっかく素敵なことが無限にできる魔法なのにつまらない。
これ愚痴るでない。黄金の魔女の道は一日にしてならずだ。そなたとて第10の番を終えるまでは半人前よ。今は黙ってわらわの指導に従うのだ。よいな。返事はどうした？返事は
はーい。
それでよい。それで
Wow.
まだ復活の儀式の先は長いぞ。
This is
あと
gonna be an
5人も
interesting
殺さねば
dynamic.
ならないからな。あまりもてあそばずに綺麗に上品に少しあっさりめでいいからな。
And this is a very. This is
The
such
pot
a.
calling the kettle.
Yeah, right? This is such a drastic change in characterization. Like,
Huh.
ロノウェがそなたに教えた
what
わ
is
らわ
going
の
on? I don't know if I trust it.
悪い例
You know?
Yeah.
模範にしてはならぬ。
The fact that you're laughing that
Okay.
much makes me think that I shouldn't trust it.
No, definitely don't trust it. It's all a lie. Everything's a lie. She doesn't exist. It's
Maybe this-
it's secretly a goat person.
That's the ending that I want. That's my head.
Beatrice is a goat person all along.
I think everyone on the island is actually a goat person.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of goats on Rokenjima who are having dreams of being humans.
はーい、仙台様。
良い返事だ。ロノウェ、煉獄の七姉妹よ。いでよ。
はい、お嬢様。ロドンへ、ここに。
傲慢のルシファー、
Lucifer.
ここに。
これまではだな。わらわもいろいろ派手にやってきたわけだが、まあ黄金の魔女としての威厳も大事である。
As Renove chuckled at Banzo's uncharacteristically flustered speech, he summed it up for her.
かしこまりました。以後は黄金の魔女の名にふさわしい気品に気をつけるようにいたします。煉獄の七姉妹もこれまでのような悪ふざけは改め、以後は最短の手順で任務を遂行するようにということでよろしいですか？
つまりはそういうことだ。みんな肝に銘じよ。よいな。
はい、かしこまりました。
わらわが言いたいのはもう引き上げてよいぞ。
かしこまりました。それでは失礼いたします。
失礼いたします。
まあわらわが言いたいのはそれだけだ。それでは引き続きしっかりな黄金の魔女らしく貫禄を持って自重気味にな頑張るがよいぞ。そなたを見守っておる。
Acting unsure until the very end, Banto communicated only that to her. Became a group of gold butterflies and vanished into thin air. It may be fitting to say that she disappeared in a hurry because she was having trouble maintaining the conversation. After that, all that remained was Maria's outstretched body, pounded by the rain, and Rosa's body, propped up by the fence and gazing up at the sky, and the figure of the witch.
自重しろ。
Her expression looked just a little bored. There was a popping sound. That was probably her clicking her tongue.
つまんないやつ。
This doesn't bode well.
Leaving that last sentence behind, she too vanished into thin air.
Of course. As you do.
"15 minutes later."